Welcome to another episode of painting about God's promises. And we're doing this in our art journal. So I am art journaling today about God's promise or promises, he gives many, to give us peace. So I immediately kind of thought of leaves. Leaves are just so peaceful to me. So I thought I would just kind of brain dump some leaves out onto this page. And later I may work in one of these verses. So the first verse is, "Peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you, not as the world gives do I give to you. Do not let your heart be troubled, nor let it be fearful." John 14:27. And then the other second verse that is a potential to kind of write in somewhere on here. "These things I have spoken to you so that in me you may have peace. In the world you may have tribulation, but take courage. I have overcome the world." John 16:33. So what is one of your favorite verses about God's promise to give us peace? I'd love it if you'd put your favorite verse in the comments below, or maybe even tell me what images come to mind when you think of the kind of peace that Christ gives. So I'm going to pick a paintbrush here and get right started. First, let me show you, I've taken out a couple of brown craft paints, melted chocolate and raw umber. I have just a whole bunch of greens, so if you want to follow along and paint with me, just grab whatever greens you have. I kind of got some that are cool greens and just darker greens and lighter greens, cactusy greens, just all kind of different greens. And then just for a little splash, I got Bimini blue, which is kind of a turquoise, and a golden yellow. And I may splash that in somewhere. Today I was looking around at leaves and I saw a beautiful photograph of eucalyptus leaves. And so I think I'm going to get my slanted brush and dive in and just start painting some leaves. And being that this whole purpose of this art journaling process is to help us remember the biblical principle of the verses, in this case about God's promise to give us peace, that's what we're doing. We're not worrying about what it looks like so much as we're just helping our brain associate some images with the Bible verse so that we can remember it better. Just sticks in the brain a little better. So I'm just going to start putting some different greens on my page. I'm going to make sure and get this nice dark green on here. And just a little bit of that. Okay. Let's put on some of this nice, really, it's called spring green. Put that on there. That's pretty. Love that. And then there's this marsh green, which is like a, I don't know what it is. It's, hopefully you can see that, those 4 colors of green on my very busy plate that I have. I'm gonna put some white on my plate. And I'm gonna wait and put the brown for the stems of the leaves later. I'm just gonna make my stems in green for now. So I think I'm gonna get started with some eucalyptus-y type leaves. So I'm just coming in and just having fun, laying down some shapes. And I'm just going from memory. So I'm not being perfect at all about these eucalyptus leaves. I know they're longer. They're a little bit more oval shape. So I'm just gonna kind of pull in some of these eucalyptus-y leaves. And just anywhere the spirit moves. Let's get some stems. So I'm just gonna pop some stems in here really lightly. And I'll go back in and I'll use my brown to kind of darken those up a bit. I'm just gonna kind of pop that in there. Let's get some nice dark Hauser green, and let's pull in some other leaf shapes. And maybe we've got leaf shapes just coming, bursting out of from another angle on the page. And we're just gonna get this dark Hauser green laid down. And this is gonna be a nice kind of wide leaf. And I'm not planning this out. I'm really just letting whatever comes up just kind of bubble out. So let's pull another one, a nice wide one right here. And I'm just moving as quickly as I can so that I don't think too much about it. Just kind of letting it be inspired, if you will. Let's do one more right here. So let's pull in a nice wide leaf. Maybe it goes right off the page. There's something kind of neat about paintings when the subject matter goes right off the page or right off the canvas. Kind of pulls your eye up and out. So I'm just putting little stems in here that I can figure out later. Okay, let's dab into this color. So I'm gonna wipe some of that dark off. I'm gonna go into this color and I'm gonna add some round leaves. Some just super roundish colors. And this lighter green color. I hope you can see that okay on the camera. I can't see my camera because it's sitting up above. All right, let's pull in another one right here. We'll let it go off the page too. Okay. This one wasn't quite the shape I wanted, so I'm just gonna pull that shape out a little bit more. All right, and then I'm just gonna flick a stem right there, and right there. And then let's pull in, oh goodness, let's pull some of those down here too, or over here. How about right here? So now I'm just kind of filling the blank space on my page with all these beautiful green, peaceful leaves. So same thing, I'm just gonna kind of pull stems out. And I think I'm gonna do those down here too, because why not? It's kind of nice to have repeating patterns. Oops. All right, now let's pull a circular leaf in right there. And then let's pull one down here. So way down the base of the page here. So it'll be going off the page again. And then these will have little stems going right behind that leaf. That looks kind of funny. It looks like antennas on a bug. Okay, now what I think I want to do is I want to come back in here with my really light spring green and just pull in a stripe up the center of these nice super dark leaves. And then let's pull in some little veins. And I just got paint all over my elbow. I could feel it as I did it. So I'm just gonna reach down and clean that off really quick. If you don't have paint on you somewhere after painting like this, then you'll know you weren't really into it. When I paint, I feel so much more focused and in flow state. It's because you have to be so mindful of what you're doing, and you're kind of putting your whole attention on it. And it just is it's a wonderful way to find a way to get rid of stress. These eucalyptus leaves, they kind of have they have a few highlights. I'm not going to do too many highlights, just a few here and there. Okay, now these down here, I kind of want to put some highlights on them as well, but they may be too wet to do it. So I'm going to mix white with the color and just kind of start putting some highlights on some of these, if I can. So it's lighter than the one under the layer underneath, so that's good. That's what I wanted. Just get that lightened up even more. Just kind of plop that lighter color, kind of almost like a highlight. So I've got some highlights going on over here and over here and there. Okay, I think let's go back to this darker-ish, medium-ish color, and let's put on, goodness, what kind of leaf? I think let's do some more eucalyptus leaves. So kind of the long and skinny eucalyptus leaves to kind of balance that out a bit. So I'm just gonna pull in, I think 3 down here maybe as well. 3 and 3 up there. And just sometimes I like to really make sure I'm working in uneven numbers when it comes to the objects on the page. And you know, it couldn't hurt to have some flowing leaves over here. So maybe long flowing leaves that kind of come right off the page. Okay, so there's some eucalyptus leaves. Now I'm gonna get this dark color, and I'm just gonna put some dark dots to fill in the space in a few of these spots. Just like giving the hint of other little bits of stuff in the air floating around on the breezes. And it just also kind of gives your eye something else to look at that's not a leaf shape. So let's put some dark spots right here too. I could have chosen a better brush for this, but that's okay. I don't want them to be perfect anyways. Okay, so now back to my eucalyptus leaves over here. So I kind of went in and I used that light spring color just in a few spots. Just kind of as a little added interest. Okay, now I think I'm gonna switch gears and go into my bright colors. So let's pull in this Bimini blue. I'm gonna get some of that Bimini blue on my plate and some golden yellow. Oh, and I forgot I wanted to put my little brown stems. So let's get some melted chocolate. This feels like a good chocolate color. Okay, now I want to grab a brush that is kind of like a liner brush, and I'm gonna do my stems. So I'm just coming in with some brown and just pulling in some stems right over the top of the green that I had put down for the stem. It just is an added interest again. And I was seeing, as I was looking at eucalyptus leaves earlier, that the stems had more brown to them. They weren't as brown as this, but they had some brown. So I'm just kind of adding that in. Maybe even pulling it down into the base of the leaf a little to mix with that green and make it a little darker. On the bottom. Up here. And just pulling in a little different color other than green to just give it some interest. Okay, let's pull in a little green. Just the skinniest little stripe of green down here. I mean, green, brown. And then maybe kind of some interesting, shadowy brown on the bottom. Just to darken that up a little tiny bit. Not much. Not much at all. Okay. I think that's enough brown. So now let's go in and let's think about what do I want to do with this Bimini blue. I could add it right into my eucalyptus leaves. That's a pretty splash. Actually, I really like that. And you kind of almost get the sense that eucalyptus leaves are they almost have a blue hue to them. So let's pull some in on this one too. And it's just kind of giving it a little spark of color. I'm also thinking that it'd be nice to have some Bimini blue dots as well. And just popping them in. Let's pop some in down here. Okay. And maybe pop a few in over here, sprinkled amongst the green. Same thing here. I'm just spicing it up a little, having fun. Getting some patterns. Let's pull some blue in over here and down here and up here. 'Cause why not, right? Why not? All right, let's see. Now, I do want to add some yellow, but I might let's grab a different brush altogether. I'm going to put yellow little, I guess you'd call them flowers. I don't know if you'd call them flowers. They're like little yellow fuzzy balls that you sometimes see like in the mixed in with the botanicals. So just kind of sprouting in a few spots where there's these little yellow ball things. I'll add a stem later. Just start out with the little yellow ball thingy. And I really want to get that distributed around the canvas. Maybe we'll do 5 of them. Again, a kind of an odd number. And let's pull one up here. Okay. This one I think could be a little bigger. I'm just making that a little bigger. Same here. This could be a little bigger too. I want it to show up. I don't want it to just quietly fade into the background. So there we have some yellow. The other thing I could do is add a little bit of yellow on the stem and into the leaf, just to add a little brightness. A little extra oomph. And I'm not being careful at all. If the yellow mixes with the green wet paint, that's fine. Okay, let's pull a little bit of yellow in here too. Okay, a little yellow here. And then let's pull some yellow into the stem so that it's not so brown. I kind of like that covering the brown stem better. Do I want to put it anywhere else? You know, I don't. I don't think I do. I think I'm gonna let that just hang out and be done. Now let's take this brown and just let it mix in with the yellow that's on my brush. And now we'll pull in a little, flick out a little stem for these little ball flowers. So I'm just gonna flick a little stem right down. And here's a stem. And here's a stem. And then I'm gonna work a little bit of that brown in a few spots on that little yellow fluff ball. Just whatever's left on my brush, just kind of working that in. And then I'm gonna add white, and I'm gonna go into the white. No, I'm not gonna mix it with the brown. Let's grab white and yellow and make a really bright yellow. Hopefully you can see that. And then just splash it in a couple of places like a highlight. Okay. Yep, just kind of splashed it in. I'm gonna go back into my yellow and yellow that one up. It got a little too brown. Same here. And then a little yellow back in. Okay. I think I am gonna end that. Now what I could do is when this is all dry, I could come in, and I think I will do this, and I'm actually just gonna use a fine tip marker, and I'm gonna write the verse around the leaves. So I'll probably use something like, well, you know, I could even use this beautiful copper pen. Let me see if the copper pen, let's see how it, oh, it's not writing at all. It ran out of ink or something. Something went wrong. Okay, what about gold? Let's see how our gold fine tip pen looks. That looks okay. So it's still a bit damp to be doing this, but I just want to give you an idea. I'm going to do the one that says peace. I leave with you. And then there's a semicolon. And then I'll finish the verse out over here. I just don't want to get a ton of wet paint all over my hand. So I'm going to do that when it's all dry. So there you have it. We're done. I would love to see if you are going to paint some leaves, or if you have a different image that you would want to paint, that would be great to see too. So if you want to share your work with me, the place that you can do that is on Facebook. I do have a group. It is called Creative Women Who Thrive, and I will put the link to that group down below this video. And if you feel like coming in and interacting with all of us ladies there, we interact, we pray for each other. We post sometimes our creative projects. It's a fun group. It's a really nice group. So signing off for now. Peace be with you. Sherry Joy Collier signing off.